Hello guys. Want to make a video giving all of my autism symptoms that I have accumulated throughout the past couple of years. And by the way, yeah, I cut my hair. I screwed it up, so I had to give me like a curtain bang thing. So yeah, it looks kind of bad right now. I need to wash my hair and style it better, but yeah, that's one autism sign right there. Um being so uncomfortable at the hairdresser because I have to like small talk that I would just cut my own hair and take the risk. So basically, if you don't know me, I was diagnosed with autism at 11 years old. I didn't believe the diagnosis. And then I found out in adulthood that I was. Like, I finally realized it. And it explains so many things about my life and myself. So I want to get right to the list. First sign, sensitivity to sound, light, smells, texture, and uncomfortable clothing slash jewelry. So if I hear a loud noise, I don't just hear it, I feel it. And it like makes my brain kind of like vibrate and it's just so irritating. Even after the sound is over, I can still feel that zzz in my brain. And I'll also notice that like I will jump at the sound and no one else will. I'm like, did you hear that? That was so loud. They're like, yeah, but not a big deal, you know? Um, Same thing with lights. Like one night we were watching some house fire and the police lights were flashing and they were bothering me so much that like I brought it up and nobody else seemed to care about it. And like fireworks, forget about it. I hate 4th of July for that reason. I mean, they're pretty, but I don't want to hear it. And smells, I'm very sensitive to smells. Like I have like this, the nose of a dog, you know? And then like texture goes for like food and for like touching things. So like people thought I was weird when I was picking out a laptop because I had to have the touch thing, the mouse had to be smooth. And like hardly any of them were smooth. So I didn't have many options. But if I rub my fingertips on something rough, I will feel a tingle on my fingertips for like ever. Like it just like it doesn't go away very fast. So it's very annoying. Um and texture of food, like I've never been able to eat jello. I think it's just like the freakiest thing, like in my mouth wiggling, like no. No. And then tags in my clothes, like when I was a kid, like I could not stand tags. I would freak out about it. My mom had to cut all my tags out. I would only wear leggings, like not jeans. I hated jeans. I said they were scratchy. That's how I described them, according to my mom. And then jewelry, like I wear my wedding ring, but when I'm like really overstimulated, I will take my wedding ring off. It freaks me out. Like I can't wear it, even though I'm used to it. I will suddenly not be used to it anymore. If I'm extremely overstimulated or burnt out. The next sign, and this is a big one for both autism and ADHD. And by the way, a lot of these will be both autism and ADHD because there's a lot of overlap. I'm not really sure which is which all the time, but I'll just tell you that these are all autism, at least. So next one is executive dysfunction. Executive functioning in your brain is basically like your brain's manager that helps you navigate through tasks, like, plan out tasks and like, manage your time and everything. And I struggle with that immensely, like especially when I have to cook a meal. So I won't really know how to make it all come out at the same time. Um Stuff like that is very difficult for me. Just everyday tasks can be very difficult. Um and let's see, lack of social skills. Yeah, that's something that a lot of people have pointed out. Like, you're really awkward. I think I'm pretty normal. I think I'm pretty good at masking. Women usually are better at masking, which is why they're not usually diagnosed with autism. A lot of the time, they're diagnosed with bipolar instead, because they just don't present as obvious with autism. But yeah, the social skills, like all throughout school, I was bullied. I didn't have a big group of like a clique. I didn't have a clique. I had like friends here and there, but like mostly I was, ostracized from my peers. I was rejected. I was like bullied so bad to the point where the day of graduation from high school, I just like walked off with my middle fingers in the air. Like, I didn't even stay to hang out with anyone. I was like, bye, I'm done. It was like torture. And I graduated early because I couldn't stand being there anymore. So anyway, next one, lack of fine motor skills. So fine motor skills are your fingers, small movements with your fingers. Um, very difficult, like keys, like functioning a key, putting on a lid, um, just anything that's like a tiny little thing. Peeling eggs, like it's like so it makes me so impatient because like trying to get these little tasks done is so frustrating when I feel like there's a disconnect between my brain and my hands. It's like a kid, like a child hasn't figured out how to like open things yet. It's like that. It's like anyway, it's horrible. Editing Bonnie here. I just wanted to add dyspraxia as one of my signs because it is very common in autism, and it's basically a fancy word for being clumsy, not knowing where you are in space, and having a hard time with driving and all kinds of tasks because of dyspraxia. Um, difficulty with eye contact. So eye contact, I cannot make eye contact with people and listen to what they're saying. If I look into your eyes, which usually I do because I don't want to seem rude, if I look into your eyes, I will be somewhere else. Like my brain cannot process the eyes and the words at the same time. So I'll look away as much as I can so I can actually get a gist of what they're actually saying. But it's weird because if it's someone that I'm used to, like my husband, I can look into his eyes and talk to him and listen to him. Um, but if I'm very overstimulated or in burnout, I cannot do that anymore. So, I made another video on burnout if you want to look that up. Difficulty with transitions. Oh gosh, this is probably my worst one. And because I am higher masking, I want to call it higher masking, not higher functioning, because I don't feel like I'm functioning very well as an adult. But because I'm higher masking, I don't like freak out like a child would during transitions. Like lower functioning people and children might have a big meltdown, big public display when they have to go from the inside the car to inside the grocery store. Like that's a transition. So you're moving from one thing to the other. We have minds that want to stay on one thing. Um, at a higher intensity for a longer period of time. So it's called autistic inertia. So when we are doing something and then we have to stop and do something else, it causes the worst distress. Like even if we just have to go use the bathroom or we have to stop and get some water or eat, it's like horrible. And like waking up in the morning, this is one of the reasons why I struggle to get out of bed in the morning because it's a transition from laying in the bed to getting up and starting the day. That's a huge transition. Also, doing a job, like an occupation that involves a lot of transitions, is like hell for me. Like when I used to clean houses for a living, I realized I would really get mad when I had to stop making the beds and go clean the bathrooms. Even though it was a good thing that I got the beds done and I was moving along and I was getting it done, I was still like, I don't want to do anything else besides make beds. This is what I've been doing. I want to keep making beds. And then when I would work in the laundry room and be folding towels for like 5 hours straight, people would be like, "Aren't you bored? Why aren't you playing music?" I'm like, "No, this is great. This is wonderful." It's just like a break, I think, from, trying to handle like all the many transitions of the day plus all the stuff that's going on in my head. There's so much going on. Like autistic people have, I think, like 46% more activity in their brain than regular people. We just have so much going on at the same time, and it's overwhelming. So it's like we're just overwhelmed by our internal world. So our external world needs to be really simple and easy. Okay, next one, difficulty with change. Yeah, change. Whew. I mean, it can be a simple change, like my husband deciding to go lay down in bed when he gets home from work instead of being on the chair. He's always on the chair every day. I am used to him being right there. So one day he wanted to go lay down. I'm like, "What are you doing? What do you mean? What do you mean?" Like, just anything out of the norm can set me off. Like, I can have a little bit of panic. This is why I hate vacations because it's like such a huge disruption in my life and, such a huge change that like I don't even wanna go. Like, it'll get down to the day where I'm about to fly away, and I will almost, like, cancel the whole thing. We like things that are predictable because predictability is safe. People have their comfort movies. Like, I prefer my comfort movies over a new movie or a new show, like, which causes problems with me and my husband because he's neurotypical and he prefers to try new shows, new movies all the time. And I'm like, well, we're still watching this show and this other show. Like, we're still doing these. Like, and he's like, well, no, I'm bored. I want to watch something else. I don't really get bored. I'm like, this is what I like. I'm sticking with this. So, yeah, I think it's because the world is so unpredictable. It scares us. By the way, those of you who think that I'm not autistic, you're going to be a believer by the end of this video. I mean, it's so obvious that I am autistic, that I struggle with all these things, and I always have. So, anyway, perfectionism. Oh gosh, perfectionism in my mind because of my black and white thinking. And that's another one, black and white thinking. That's what we have. Rigid thinking. Because of that, I am plagued with perfectionism to the point where if I didn't get it done perfect, then it's not done. Like, that's how my brain thinks. If it's not done perfect, it's not done yet. So I really struggle with just like doing something good enough and then leaving. 'Cause I don't know what good enough is, right? Because my brain is black and white. There are several things that I dwell on that I didn't do correctly or perfectly. Oh, do you remember that time that you hung that collage and you like made a mistake like 3 times? Yeah, you did. Just remember that those 3 holes are still there. You might have spackled them, but they're still there with spackle in them. It's like my mind is always reminding me of the things that I have not done perfectly. So anyway, and then the extra logical way of thinking. So yeah, extra logical thought process, because really what's going on with us is the logical side of our brain is more developed than the emotional and social part. So like we'll see the social rules and we'll be told to follow them, but we will not respect them because they don't make sense. Like looking into your eyes does not help me hear what you're saying. My eyeballs are not for hearing. Anyway, T-Rex arms. This is kind of a funny one. So like I will notice myself standing like this, It's just comfortable, but I know it looks ridiculous. I walk past a mirror while I'm doing that. And I'm like, oh gosh, that look weird. I don't realize it. And then need for routine. So every time I wake up, I go and feed the kitties and I get my coffee and go sit in bed and watch YouTube on TV. And it's always like one of my special interests, which is like psychology or interior design. So, yeah, that's what I do. And that's what makes me happy. And if I have to not do that, I will be anxious. So, to the next part, meltdowns. So, yeah, there have been a few times, and it doesn't happen very often, but there have been a few times where I will have an explosive meltdown. um, and it's usually when I've been pushed way too far. Um, like if I'm told to face a fear and I'm put in that situation, I will feel the need to basically just run away. And this happened one time with Kyle. He was trying to teach me something, but it's something I'm afraid of. And it was fine. Everything was fine. I was going through the lesson and trying to learn and be patient. And I freaked out. I was like, nope, 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 nope. Gotta go, gotta go, gotta go, gotta go. Just like started speed walking away. I went into the house and I sat in like this little tiny space. By the way, I really like small, tiny spaces when I'm freaking out. So I sat in this like tiny space and just like cried. And I think I was rocking, just rocking back and forth, just freaking out. Another sign. I'll just consider this the next sign. I do self-harm, but it's not like anything crazy. Like I will pick the skin around my nail here, because it starts to like peel off, and I'll try to like remove it, and it just gets worse and worse. And I peel my nails off. Like I cannot stand the feeling of my nails laying on my skin there, so I'll peel those off. And I remember the day that started. I was 9 years old the first time I did that, and it was the day that my mom told me that my dad was leaving, that they were divorcing, and I remember that day, and I remember peeling my toenail, my big toenail, too far. And I guess that's what I did to comfort myself. But yeah, I've always done that, especially when I'm nervous. I will start picking my nails off. Um, Anything I can pick at, I will pick at. So that's another one is like self-harm. It's very, very common in autism. And that's kind of like also a stim, like a self-stimulatory behavior, um, which I think is on this list too. But anyway, yeah, burnout. I get burnt out very, very quickly. And it can be very severe over very little. When we are in burnout, like our sensory sensitivities get way worse, and we can even lose skills. Speech problems slash stuttering. Like sometimes I will get nervous when I'm talking to someone and I'll just start stuttering and then like trying to tell myself, stop talking. Just stop it. Stop talking, take a second and start talking again. But yeah, so it's not like a really common thing. These bangs are going to drive me crazy. Hold on. How's that? That's cute, right? Okay, we'll just leave it at that. Obsession with special interests. Heck yeah. So I've had like varying interests throughout my life, but there are some that are intense and that never went away, like interior design. And it's not like, oh, I just started watching HGTV when I was, a young woman and decided to decorate. I noticed, okay, what kid does this? All right. So I was watching the movie Annie, the old movie Annie. And there was a scene with Annie, dancing around with the lady, in the mansion. And I watched this as a child and was like, "Wow, look at her room!" Like the grown woman. I was obsessed with her room. That's what I noticed. So I went and I tried to make my room look like hers by like rearranging my furniture, and I would rearrange my furniture all the time. And I would be like, "Look at my new room! Look what I did!" And of course we painted my room like I think 5 or 6 different colors. And as soon as I got my new house, my first home, I mean, I went crazy and decorated. It's so beautiful. And now we're in our second home and I'm trying to decorate this one, but it's like this is my thing. It's just always been my thing. And I will listen to videos about interior design for hours. If I'm doing something around the house, I'll just turn it on and listen for hours and I don't get tired of it. And then psychology, same thing. So the reason that we love our special interests is because our minds are programmed to be on one task at a high intensity for a long time. We can really hyper focus on a topic that we're interested in and go very deep on research. We can become an expert on things very easily. So anyway, that's a big sign. Most autistic people have that special interest that they are obsessed with. Fear of failure slash trying new things. Oh gosh, yeah. So we hate trying new things because of the fear of failure. We fail at so many things, and the feeling that we get when we fail, it's like devastation. It's not like, oh, just try again. It's like, I failed again. I'm never gonna be able to do this. Like, it's like we just have this horrible sinking feeling. Um, so yeah, I don't like to try new things. Fear of people, another sign. Yeah. We tend to generalize things and people. So let's say we have, a few negative interactions as young people, we will start to believe from those few reactions that all people hate us, that all people are a threat. And I've been through it with people like crazy, with the bullying and the rejection. And now it's like every time I see a person, I already think they're not gonna like me and they're a threat to me. That's how I feel every time I see anyone um that I don't know. Next sign is masking. We're all told from a very young age that the way we are, our entire being, our essence is wrong and we need to change everything about ourselves. And I know everybody masks, depending on the situation, whether they're autistic or not. But autistic people are constantly masking um, in every situation. and it can be exhausting. It can lead us to burnout so fast, because we have to split our attention many different ways when we're interacting with people. All these thoughts like, okay, am I looking into their eyes enough? Am I looking into their eyes too much? How should I stand? How should I make my face look? Because they're talking about something sad. So I need to look sad. So I'm going to make my face look sad. Is this sad enough? Is this too sad? When do I speak? Um, how long do I speak? Am I talking about the wrong thing? Is this inappropriate? Like there's so many thoughts going on, and our brains don't want to go a million different directions. Our brains want to go one direction. And when regular people are masking, they are not thinking about all those things. So these things that we have been taught, they never come naturally. And that's why I realized I was autistic, because it's possible for autistic people to learn these things, but they never feel intuitive. They'll never come naturally to us. Um, Okay, next one is stimming. And I think I mentioned that before. So I will shake my foot, I pick at my skin, twirling hair, holding hand in odd position. I did notice myself doing kind of like a like something with my hand when I don't know, like a weird thing when I was like in the kitchen doing something. Yeah. So we will stim. Girls are better. See, I'm already doing it. Girls are better at hiding that they're autistic because they find more socially acceptable ways of stimming, like shaking their foot, twirling their hair, doing that kind of stuff. Um, that's why autistic people will like rock. If I'm really upset, like I am like hysterical because someone has done me so wrong, and I'm like, just devastated. That's when I really will rock while I'm crying. I'm just crying and like rocking, and I know I look crazy, but like I have to. And sometimes I'll just be sitting on the edge of the bed, like, and I'll be like gently like going back and forth, like, am I rocking right now? And I don't even realize I'm doing it. My body just, it's just a way of regulating your emotions. Most people have a built-in like system that regulates their emotions. We don't have that. So doing these motions with our body helps with that. And that's why a lot of autistic people are dancers, because the dancing helps them um to regulate their emotions and basically stim. Um Next one is taking things too literally. I got the name when I was a kid, Amelia Bedelia, because it's a character in a book that takes things way too literally. She's always getting things wrong. Like they told her go dress the turkey, so she put like a dress on the turkey. Well, that was me, even as like a small child. Like I just took everything literally. And that's why we prefer like direct communication. We don't like, when people speak any other way. This is Rue, by the way. He's my teddy bear. He's my sweet Rue bear. So anyway, I have to ask my husband to talk to me more directly, like literally. And if he doesn't, I will have anxiety. Honesty to a fault is my next sign. So yeah, we're very honest people. I have always been honest. I don't have an issue with honesty. Like I will throw myself under the bus before I lie. And he's right there. We are not the type of people that manipulate. We don't have like secret agendas, and that can be problematic too, because when we interact with like regular people, they expect us to have some type of hidden agenda, um, to not say what we mean, because a lot of people don't say what they mean. We might seem suspicious because, we look weird or we're doing something weird, but we're just autistic. We're not sketchy. We're not suspicious. So, yeah, ADHD, generalized anxiety disorder, and depression, all those things are very common with autism. I've been diagnosed with all of them. It's very common to have some other issue going on with autism. The way I hold a pencil, I was told by my old babysitter, Marie, she's like, you write funny. I was like, I don't know, 7 years old. And she's like, you write funny. I guess I hold the pencil weird. Like, I guess most people do it like that. Well, I do it like kind of like that. And I know that's common with autistic kids. And you're supposed to like correct how they write or whatever, but um no one corrected me and I just wrote like that and I still do and it's fine. Low seizure threshold, I put that on there because I had a seizure and was told that I have a low seizure threshold. Found out later that that is uh common in autism. Also, EDS, having hypermobile joints, along with a few other weird stuff going on with your skin. Um, See my fingers, they bend backwards. I can do like the that thing. That's common in autism. Even like the size of our heads, like we typically have larger heads than other people, and that's because of our brain growing too fast. You can tell with our foreheads, we have like I don't have a really tall forehead. Like it's pretty proportional, but like it goes across to the side a lot. That's an autistic trait. Um, Lifelong sleep problems, not feeling rested. I've never been able to relate to that scripture in the Bible that says joy comes in the morning. I don't feel joyful in the morning. I don't feel good. I feel hungover every single day. And that's because autistic people don't sleep correctly. We don't have the right kind of sleep cycle um, because we're all jacked up. So we're just like chronically exhausted. Um, I'm always daydreaming. Like it was funny. I worked at this cleaning job and I was cleaning with another person and he's like, "Bunny, Bunny, stop thinking." I'm like, "How do you know I'm thinking?" He's like, "'Cause you're doing like this." Like I'm like cleaning and staring off. Yeah, because cleaning is boring. Whatever's going on in my head is way more entertaining than cleaning the countertop. So yeah, I'm always like daydreaming, thinking about something. Um, Gastrointestinal problems. That's very common in autistic people. I've never had normal, like, you know, whatever you call it, whatever the nice word is for it. Um, Extreme love for animals and sensitivity to animal abuse. So they say we don't have empathy. That's not true. We have a difference in empathy. So, like, I empathize more with animals than people. And people are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Um, and to me, it does because of the way I think. So most people will say, well, you should have more empathy for people because you're a person and you should have empathy for your own kind more than animals. But when I look at people and I look at animals, the animals that are being abused, they are helpless, they're innocent, I've seen a lot of evil from people, so I and I've been abused by people myself, so I can empathize with the animals because I know what it's like to be abused by people. I know what it's like to fear people. So I understand them. I understand the animals and I feel terrible for them since they are innocent and they are sweet. And they show us unconditional love. So it's very difficult for me to empathize with people like I do with animals. Like if I see a movie where an animal dies, I will not be okay. I will be like so upset that I even watched the movie. Like I won't watch movies that show animals dying or being abused. And if a person dies in the movie, I'm like, whatever, you know. That's not to say that I don't have empathy for people. I have experienced empathy for people. I just have way more for animals. And that's common and autism. A lot of autistic people just have this huge love for animals and feel more bonded. And that's another big thing is feeling bonded to them. It's very easy for us to bond with animals compared to people. We don't understand people. We don't understand their rules, their hatred, their rejection. Like I have lost several humans in my life, and I haven't really cried over any of them except for my friend in fourth grade. But that was before being bullied really badly. But yeah, we do have empathy. Sometimes it can just be different. So, also, sometimes we'll have empathy for like inanimate objects, and I've experienced that too. And I'm like, am I crazy? Like, this is not a person. This is not an animal. This thing is not alive. But somehow I will feel like bad for it. I put on here lack of understanding of why women want to hold other women's babies. Okay, yeah. I'm not saying that all autistic women are like this, but a lot of autistic people don't really desire social interaction to the level that normal people do. So, of course, we want to have people in our lives, but we actually have found other things that we enjoy more than socializing.
Editing Bonnie here again. I just wanted to mention that autistic people typically have a lower level of oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. And that might be why I struggle and a lot of others struggle with social interactions and the desire for them.
Last one on here, and I'm sure it's not the last one, period. There's way more that I haven't mentioned that I can't think of right now. But immaturity and slow aging, which is half good. Yeah, I have been told a lot that I don't look my age. I'll be 37 in July. I don't think I look that old. I don't feel that old. That's the thing. I do not feel like I'm in my late 30s. That's crazy. Um, I feel like I'm in my 20s. Um, I've noticed that my friends that I grew up with are like way more grown up than me. Like they sound grown up, they act grown up, they dress grown up. I just don't. Not really. And I know that I do mature. I've noticed my style getting more mature as far as like clothes and decorating and things like that, but it's a lot slower. And it's cool too because like we typically are more adult like when we're kids than other kids. So it's kind of like we have like this one level and we kind of stay there our whole life from like childhood to adulthood. Like we are who we are at a young age, and then we just stay like that. Hopefully, you've been able to learn some stuff about yourself and understand yourself better, or understand somebody in your life better. Um, Thank you for lasting until now, and I'll see you in the comments if there are any comments. Probably not. We'll see. Okay, bye.